You are welcome to my YouTube channel. Victoria here again. This is a brief of how I constructed this cape. I didn't record while making it, but I realized it would be of benefit to you if I just showed you the construction of how I did this cape. You can as well knit it. It's so easy, as you are going to see the pattern. So I did 3 parts, 1, 2 and 3. This size and this size, part 1 and part 3 are the same size, part 2 is different. So for part 1 and part 3, I started with one part where I pulled out 70 to 71 needles, and I knitted straight 250 rows. This is the point. So when I reached here, I decreased 10 needles. Now okay, let me start with how I did part 1. Now for part 1, when I pushed up to 250 needles, I decreased on the right hand side of my machine. Yes, I decreased 10 needles, and then I knitted up to 200 and up to a point. This point I reached 120. However, I had to also increase 10 needles after 2 rows. Here I decreased after 2 rows, making it a number of 20 rows. After 2 rows, I decreased 10 needles, making and then when I reached here, it was at point 100. Then I increased 1 needle. I increased 10 needles after 2 rows, giving me a total from here up to here 120 rows. I hope you have gotten it. Let me repeat. When I knitted 250 rows up to this point, I decreased 10 needles after 2 rows. That is, you knit 2 rows and you decrease. That is transferring from one needle to the next 10 needles all at once. And then I knitted straight up to the point where I had to, up to 100. Row counter reading 100, meaning from at this point you're going to have to reset your row counter to 00 so that you can count this well. So here I reached 100, and then I increased after 2 rows to make it to 120 rows. Then I knitted straight 110 rows. Now if you note, this part 1 is different from part 3 because here I cast off from this side, but this one I cast off from the right. Here I cast off from the left. So when you put it on your machine, this is how you're going to do. This side you'll be straight up, no decreases, and this side will be straight up, no decreases, but right on one side you're going to decrease here, and then this other part you're going to decrease here. So how I started is I knitted 10 rows. Out of 10 rows, that is a total of 20 rows. I knit 10 rows, increase 1 row in tension 10 for the folding, and then another one in tension, then I continued in tension 7. The 10 rows were in tension 7. I increased, knitted 1 row in tension 10, took back to tension 7 and knitted 10 rows, making it a total of 20 rows for the ribbing. I didn't do a 1 by 1 ribbing, as you can see. So after I did that, I went into tension. I worked this body in tension 7. I maintained tension 7 all through. So you first work on this ribbing and then you build up the body. So this is how I did part 1 and part 3. Now for part 2, that is the middle part, I pulled out 41 needles. I also did the ribbing, which is 10 rows and 10 rows, making it a total of 20 rows. I hope you really understand this when I say 10 out of 10. So also I knitted up to 250 rows. Now for the shaping of the armhole, because these are the armholes, I decreased here 10 rows the same way I did this side, and then after I came back and I also decreased this. Like I would knit 2 rows, decrease this side and decrease this side, knit 2 rows, decrease this side and decrease this side until the 10 rows were done. Then when I reached here, I also did increases of the 10 needles. I hope you understand this. Decrease here 10 needles, decrease this side 10 needles. After knitting 2 rows both sides, knit straight up to 100, reach here, increase 1 needle after 2 rows up for a total of 10 needles, and then knit straight 110. So your row counter will be reading 480 rows at the end of all the pieces when you've done them. Then after that, I put back on the machine. It couldn't fit well, so I had to do parts. I put back this side on the machine and did the ribbing here, still 10 by 10, and also did the ribbing here 10 by 10. Then I joined this part and these parts together, the upper parts and then the lower parts. Then I also did a ribbing here in the armhole area so that it is not folded in. I did the ribbing here and also the ribbing here, and then this is how the whole cape turned out to be. Thank you for watching. I hope you can construct this cape easily. I was inspired by a Pinterest image. It really was so beautiful, so when a client saw it, they gave it to me to work it for them, and that's how I came up with this construction and measurements. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I'll see you next time. Don't forget to like, to share, and to subscribe. See you next time. Bye bye. I'm going to share this on my community post so that you can refer to. Thank you.